Okay, everyone. This is the first video in a series of videos about the morphic field and a journey I undertook in 2020 with knowledge like this, and where that came from, where this kind of knowledge came from the morphic field. There's tons and tons and tons more knowledge like this. I'll get right into it. Everything else, if you want to know about me, I'm Tanya, the Spirit Scribe. If you want to know about my blog, I'll link everything down below so we can dive right into this. So, what is the morphic field? Since I'm not a fan of Doodly and Co., I drew myself. Please don't eat me for that. So, the morphic field in itself is nothing new. The concept is not new, and it is certainly not mine. There's a great guy called Rupert Sheldrake. I believe he said it first, or at least the term, the morphic field or morphogenetic field, was coined by him. So you might want to just look him up. Very interesting read. Now, the morphic field is generally a field that is around the Earth, around all of Earth. It's like Earth's aura, and I also like to call it the grid of all ideas. I should mention that I never found any of this anywhere else on the net, and I've looked far and wide. I read spiritual books and books about phenomena and everything like this since I was 18, and I'm 35 now. I've never seen it displayed like this, but it makes a lot of sense, so just hear me out. So, the morphic field. It's the grid of all ideas and all inventions and all of human genetics. Sheldrake talks a lot about genetics and flight patterns of birds. I'm not getting into biology here. I'm not. I'm an author. I'm a German author, and I started writing fantasy some years ago. So this is my take. My take is from an author's view, from a spiritual person's viewpoint, and I want to talk about ideas, specifically, the ideas that come to you in the creative process. Because creativity still to this day is something completely mystified. And it doesn't have to be. So, the morphic field is around the Earth. It encompasses Earth all around. It's like a fishnet. It's like a fishnet that somebody threw completely over all of Earth. Of course, you can't see it. We're talking about energy. It's an energy field. And science somewhat knows this. As I said, Sheldrake, he is a scientist, said this, and people know this instinctively. The field it's not very close to Earth. It's on the upper end of the atmosphere. So if you think the atmosphere reaches from where we are right to its edges, and then comes the morphic field, and then there comes space, and the nothingness of space. So it's in between. It's a shield. It's an energy shield, like our magnetic field. what would it look like? What does it look like? If you have this, then you can see it's a grid. It's a grid, and it has these you could almost say quadrants. This is the fisher net. If you look on it, if you were to look directly on it, if you could, this is what it would look like. And scientists also know this, or at least they speculate about this, and spirituals know this. And I've come to know this in my meditations and in my channelings. So if you have a grid, for example, you have a grid on Earth, that's latitude and longitude, and you have a grid above Earth, the morphic field. As you know, in mathematics, there's an X and a Y axis and a Z. That means, very simply speaking, that you can pinpoint a location on this grid. For example, if I really wanted to go here, and I asked a mathematician, please help me, can you please describe how to get there, exactly there, not here, but here. This is a point in mathematics. It's a defined thing, it's not something floating around. And the mathematician can do this for you. He can say, oh yeah, well, you go this way plus that way is this way. So you get exactly here every time. Now, this is important because, as I've said, on the morphic field, every idea, every invention, and collective memory is in this grid. It's like a cloud or a database. That also means that on this specific point, an idea can live, can exist right there. And the most interesting thing is that it does not move. It will not go away from here. I said I'm an author, and I need and I want story ideas, of course. I always thought this was fiction, and I was very, very wrong about that. I'll get to that later. So let's just say you want to write a story. You need an idea. You need a really creative, great idea. What I'm saying to you is that if you know how the morphic field works in general, then you have an idea where the story you're looking for lives. Because it does live in the grid. It has to. Stories and ideas do not float around in space. That's not how this works. And they don't float around in your head if you haven't had the initial idea yet. If you haven't had that, bam, my story could be about. So this is where an idea lives. Here's the interesting part. Of course, this is a very, very simple schematics. The thing gets more complicated, I'm sorry. Because if you were to look on this grid like this, so if you were to cut it open and to look from the side into this thing, it would look something like this. So this is the fisher net surrounding the Earth. Now there's this wave and this wave and this wave. You probably guess what I'm getting at. Just like everything else has a frequency, this grid has frequencies. The red, if you know about chakras, there's red, orange, green, and all these colors up to white, which is of course everything. Now here's the thing. Your idea, let's assume you're still looking for an idea, can live here on the red frequency. Of course you can see the colors. This is just, we're talking about frequencies, okay? And the frequency of the first chakra is anger, home, hurt, security or insecurity. It's lust, you know, all this really basic stuff, what connects you to the earth and the others. The next frequency and the next frequency, of course, they're all in there. Your story could live here, or it could live here. Let's say it lives here. Now, where's the difference? How does that translate into the story? Story one, let's just say it's a love story. It's a love story, you know, boy meets girl. And this far down on the red frequency, the story would be about jealousy and anger. It would have quite a low frequency, and you know, these kind of stories that everybody dies in the end and it's all carnage and drama, you know, this could be situated somewhere here. If you go a little up and the story is here, it's still the same, almost the same story. It can be this almost the same guy and almost the same girl and the same setting, but because it's a higher frequency, because this story lives in a higher frequency, even a little, it's not that much about jealousy, or the conflict is actually resolved, or the ending is actually better or nicer, or somebody doesn't have to die, or somebody resolves anger. You know what I'm getting at. Now a story on here, on the green frequency, would be filled with love. If you know about the chakra colors, this would be a very nice love story. And you have to understand that not only do the ideas already exist when you're looking for them, but also on every point, and I mean on every point, every mathematical point on these frequencies, everything a mathematician could get to, or somebody meditating really could get to. On every dot in this grid lives a universe of a story. A story universe is like Lord of the Rings. You immediately have 100 things in your head when I say Lord of the Rings. When I say Harry Potter, you don't only think of Harry Potter, you think of this universe of things. This universe is already there, and it lives on a dot like this. Now, who told me that? My characters told me that. They took me aside one day and they said, you know this is not fiction, right? I was like, what? I thought I'm writing a novel. And they say, oh yeah, well you are, but we're not fiction. We've been here before you started writing the book, and we'll be here after you finished writing the book. We have personalities, and we have a past and a future, and all of this lives on the grid. Do you know what this means if you are a creative person? Do you know what you can do with a grid like this? Just imagine you need a good idea. How do you get a good idea? Well, I have to say I was never a plotter. You know, there are plotters and there are pantsers in the writer universe, and the plotters plot, of course. They have structures and they have character sheets, and well, I never had any of that. And still my stories work just fine. They're all 100,000 words plus, and I never actually have to worry where I am, what people do. I never have to worry. My characters bring the story to me, and I just have to write it down. Very nice. Okay, how do you get there? First of all, start meditating. I cannot stress this enough. You can only do and understand all of this, not in theory, but in practice, if you practice. So how do you get there? How do you get to these great ideas? You know, on Earth, this is good old Earth. I chose Italy and Great Britain because, yeah, you know, you can somehow guess it. Because you know how grids are. We have a perfectly fine grid on Earth. It's called longitude and latitude. And with this, you can describe a point on the Earth where everybody can get to. Now, if you are in Rome, let's pretend you're in Rome, and you dream about going to London. You've been there, you've seen it, you've loved it, and you want to go back there. Then you close your eyes, you get calm, you think about London. The whole city is in your head, and you're back in the noisy but nice streets, back in the rain, I don't know. You love London, and what is this called? If you're on Earth and you dream yourself to another location, this is called dreaming, hoping for a vacation, looking for a vacation. You take your mind somewhere else on planet Earth, and that works just fine. That's a really great thing, right? You close your eyes, you're almost there. This is Earth. Everybody does it all the time. It's called daydreaming and dreaming. Now, there is nothing but yourself that can prevent you from being in Rome or in Europe or anywhere really, and not dreaming yourself along the longitude to London, but to dream yourself up here into the morphic field. There is not really a difference. Okay, maybe you've never been in the morphic field. That's okay. At least not consciously, because of course we are all part of the morphic field. I mean, come on, we live on Earth. We are automatically part of the morphic field. You can't not be part of the morphic field. That's completely impossible. As long as you stay on this planet, you will be in the morphic field. So while people do this all the time, oh boy, don't we love it? They never actually venture, close their eyes, and do this. They never travel up into the morphic field. One, because nobody told them about the morphic field, maybe. Certainly not school or something. And two, because people believe in planning. People also believe that their thoughts are their own and that their ideas are their own and that they start in their heads and that it's their idea. Well, I'm sorry, but yeah. That's not really how things work with ideas. You can make a plan, it's all good and well. You cannot have a creative idea that's not coming from this field, I'm sorry. And you know what? This is good. This is a good thing. All creatives want this. Everybody who really wants to invent anything wants this. Engineers thrive if they somehow get to the morphic field without anybody having to tell them how. The key, again, is meditating. In 2020, when Corona started hitting us, in Germany and elsewhere, I started meditating 30 to 40 minutes every single day. Every single day I sat down and listened. I've done this for quite a while. It's called channeling. And you don't have to believe in channeling. You don't. You don't have to believe me anything, really. You can just go see for yourself. This, I dare you. I dare you to go and find your own truth in all of this. You don't have to take my word for it. I'm not dependent on that. For 7 months, I listened to this kind of stuff every single day. It's not always as much physics as this. This was the very first day. The first day of 7 months worth of knowledge. Of real, actual knowledge. Of ideas, of creativity, and of everything, really. It is my conversation with all that is. And I dare you to not only follow my thought, to not only start meditating yourself, if you're creative, if you're an engineer, if you want to build something, if you want to know something, if you want to have wisdom and love, because I've talked to all of them. I dare you, do this. Sit down, get calm, and listen. You're part of the morphic field. You're already there. There's no buy this book or get coached by me or anyone. No, you're already part of this world. Your soul knows how to do it. So just go do it. As I said, this is the first day of many, many days. I never wanted to tell people about any of this, you know. I wanted to keep this to myself, not because of the physics stuff. That's all nice. I'm not a physicist and I'm not a mathematician, as you might have heard. But I was asked to get this knowledge out. I didn't want to. For 7 months plus, I didn't want to. So, if I can ask anything of you, as I said, don't eat me. These don't have to resonate with you. But if you're interested in the morphic field, if you've read about this, if you've heard about it, if you've read Rupert Sheldrake or anyone else in that kind of field, research this. Do your own research. Meditate on this. I can promise you that you'll find something worthwhile. There's one addition. There's one nice little fun fact about the morphic field I was told on day one. This all happened within, I don't know, an hour or so, 40 minutes, I don't know. One of the nicest things that actually made me crack up was this. How do you know the difference between an original story, some really original idea, and a copy? How does that work? Because plotters would say, well, all stories are the same, really. You change, if you have Harry Potter, then you change the name and you change the location and you put one girl out and one girl in, and voila, you have a new story and you can sell that. It's the same, right? No, it's not the same. Why is it not the same? Let's say your original is Lord of the Rings. Congratulations, you've wrote the Lord of the Rings. Now, this is the original. I'm very certain, actually, that Tolkien did just this. He grabbed he pulled a story out of the morphic field down to himself and wrote it down. I didn't know Tolkien, he's dead, he can't say no, I didn't, I'm sorry. This is just my thought about this. This is the original. If you have an original, then you went from the earth up into the grid, and here's the story. This is what you did. You meditated on it, maybe yes, maybe no, grabbed the story, got it. Now, what does this person do? Since most people don't know this, or don't want to know it, or were never taught this, or don't see any reason why they should produce an original when they can just copy. And I'm not saying all copies are bad, I'm really not. They do this. Here's Tolkien on Earth, sitting in his house, writing. This is you. If you make a copy, you do not go up here to create the original. You go there. Stop. Sounds easy, right? It is easy. It is easier. Energy-wise, it's very easy to just go there. You've read Lord of the Rings and you say, I can do that too, you know, I can do that. And as I said, most people don't know how to do this. They don't know about the grid. This is the difference. The difference is one of them grabbed into the morphic field and somehow knew or somehow felt that this is important and that this is real. And you can't argue that the Lord of the Rings is not real. You can't even argue that the characters in the Lord of the Rings are not real, you know, Legolas and stuff. Because something that is perpetuated in the morphic field long enough is a part of the morphic field. Just because humans maybe thought it up themselves Again, I don't think they can. I think Legolas was around before Tolkien. As a personality, as a spirit, or what have you. He just knew this. He knew how to do that. So I hope this has made some semblance of a sense to you. I've tried really hard to break this down, and I'm not sure I've really grasped it by now, 7 months in. But this is the best I can come up with. This is the best I can do. And as I said, I was told all of this. This wasn't even my idea. While I do love to think about stories and ideas, I never thought I would write something like this down. I was terrible at maths. I was very terrible at physics. And yeah, well, here we are. So thank you very much for spending this time with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned a little something. And if you want to know more about this and the 7 months journey I did, then head over to my website, thespiritscribe.com, and also .de für Deutsche, and read a little. My blog gets filled with 3 journal entries per week. 3 in German, 3 in English, so they're always translated vice versa. Read a little. I invite you. I have 7 months worth of knowledge lying around, and as I said, I wanted to keep it because, as you can maybe as you might imagine, it was hard for me to believe that I could contribute something. So it's this typical, why me? And really, I encourage you, read this, because the 7 interviews in 7 months with the 7 aspects of the 7 chakras are really more than fascinating. As I said, this is just day 1. This is what my own book characters have told me in day 1 of 30 of month 1. If you've enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and share this video with someone you love. Somebody creative, somebody who wants to write a book or invent the next telephone or car. And really just dive into this with me. I can only invite you. In Matrix, in the movie, there's this beautiful sentence, I'm the one who shows you the door. I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it. I hope I've shown you a door today. One of many, many doors to come. And leave a comment if you want to. This is up for discussion. I'm not past discussing this. I would love to get to know people who thought about this too, who read Sheldrake. I would really love to get in touch. So, till next time, bye bye.